Hi everyone, I have some more tables on Pentecost that I would like to share with you, but before I get into them, I would like to just remind you of this table that I had done some time ago that's on the second Advent. And if you recall on this table, right along the word Advent here, it had two dates. And the first date was the first month, the first day of the month, and the second date was in the second month, on the 7th and 20th day of the month. And I'll show you on the Hebrew calendar right here what that date is. And if you look right here, you see the 27th day of ER. That would be the second month on the Hebrew calendar. And that would be our June 4th, would be the 27th day of the second month on our calendar. And the very next day would be Jerusalem Day, and that's the day that Israel retook Jerusalem. And on our calendar, the year that happened, the date was June 7th, which would be on Tuesday. But the 27th day of ER starts on the 4th. And actually Jerusalem Day starts on the 27th day of ER because it starts at sunset the day before. And like I said, the 28th day would be Jerusalem Day, and that's exactly 1 week before Shavuot, or Pentecost. And like I said, this is the second date that's showing up on this table that was on the second Advent. And I also want to remind you of a video that I had shared or talked about before, and this was done by Renee Moses, but it's actually a recording of a video that was done by Gary Sturman, and she's just put in the images over the conversation that Gary Sturman was having with Bob Ulrich on Pentecost. And in the conversation, they had talked about the 27th day of the second month, which is the date that's showing up on this calendar. And it was actually in, well, they were talking about Genesis 9, and this is just before that, when God gave the Noahic covenant to Noah, which occurred just 1 week after this, and that would have been the very first Pentecost. And then also want to remind you of this table that I had done, where I had put in Pentecost and last trump, and it came up exactly in Exodus 19, which is what they had talked about next in this video. Right after that, they had started talking about the first Pentecost, which occurred in Exodus 19, and they were talking about how that paralleled with the Pentecost that occurred in the book of Acts, the very first Pentecost after the Lord's resurrection. And then this was the first Pentecost of the Old Testament. And like I said, where I put in last trump in the table, it came up exactly where it talks about the very first Pentecost in the book of Exodus, when the fire came down on Mount Sinai. And the word Pentecost here actually forms the shape of Mount Sinai. And I had talked about that in other videos. And the text also seems to be identifying the mountain and the parts of the mountain. Over here it says nether part, which would be the lower part of the mountain, which is where the people stood. So it's definitely given an image of Mount Sinai, which seems to match exactly with what Mount Sinai looks like in pictures on Google. And I've shown those images as well in another video. And so I just wanted to remind you of all that before I get into some more Pentecost tables that I found. And this file is really unorganized, but this is where I've saved some of them. So I'm just going to I'm probably not going to show all of them because, like I've said before, it's really not important all the terms. Usually what's important is the matrix that it comes up in. That pretty much says it all most of the time. So I may show some of those, but I'm probably not going to show all the terms. But in this one, I put in heaven, window, Pentecost, elect, dead, rise, and waters. And as you can see, the first part of the word Pentecost is right here in the lavender, coming at an angle, the letters P-E-N-T-E. The second part of Pentecost is right here in the bluish purple with the letters C-O-S-T. And that's a very close proximity. So the rabbis will tell you that the closer the proximity or the best meeting of words, the higher chance that it's intended to be an ELS term, even if you have to break it up. The closer it is together, the more likely it was meant to go together. And then over here in the green you have the word dead, the letters D-E-A-D. And here in the yellow you have the word rise with the letters R-I-S-E. So dead and rise cross right through Pentecost. And over here you have the word heaven. Over here you have the word window. And over here in the blue you have the word elect with the letters E-L-E-C-T. Now over here you see another date. It says in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month. But if you look at the text here, this is in Genesis 7, and it's talking about Noah's Ark, and when Noah was in the ark, and this was before the waters had receded. This was actually before Genesis 9, which is, well, actually in Genesis 8 is when the water had receded enough for Noah to depart from the ark. That's what this matrix is about, Noah and his family departing from the ark. And then the Noahic covenant was given 1 week after that. And so this table right here that talks about heaven, window, it mentions the 7th month, which would be prior to that time. But according to Natan's testimony, apparently something happened in the 7th month, or 3 days before the 7th month. Something happened that would have caused the official date of the Gog-Magog war to begin on that date. So maybe something in the spirit realm did occur during the 7th month that we don't really know about, or something behind doors that we don't really know about that may have occurred during that time. And then of course, like I said, in this table we have the mention of the 2nd month and the 27th day of the month, which is coming up very soon on June 4th. So I just wanted to point that out. And I may just point out a couple more terms in this table, and then I'll go on to another one on Pentecost. Maybe I'll just do this one right here. Okay, so again we have heaven, window, and the reason I put in heaven and window is because it's believed by the rabbis that the windows of heaven open for a split second on Pentecost. And this is another thing that Gary Sturman had talked about. I believe it's in this video somewhere where he talks about that as well. But the Jews stay up all night praying in anticipation for when the windows of heaven will open for a split second and God will hear their prayers. So they stay up all night studying the scriptures and praying all night. So that's why I put in heaven and window. And I don't believe the word open came up. Let me try it just to see, because I had done this some time ago. Yeah, the word open does not come up, but there may be another word that has the same meaning that would come up that I haven't tried. Oops. Wanted to put roar back in there. Okay, so in this one I had the word God over here is crossing through Pentecost. We have the word Lord right here in the blue, right under the first part of the word Pentecost, or making an angle with it, making like a corner here. The letters L-O-R-D, and then you have heavens and window, or the windows of heaven. Right here it says the windows of heaven were stopped, and the water assuaged the fountains. So this may be a reference to the heavens opening. But like I said, there may be another word that describes that that's in the text. And over here you have the word lion in the yellow with the letters L-I-O-N, and the word roar in the green with the letters R-O-A-R. Okay, and like I had said in the matrix, this is the point where the waters just started to recede. And here's how it reads in the matrix. I'll just read the bottom part right here. It says, "And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days, and God remembered Noah and all the beasts and all the cattle that were with him in the ark. And God made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters assuaged the fountains also of the deep, and the windows of heaven were stopped, and the rain from heaven was restrained." So this is just when God began to stop the rains from coming down. And also you can see the word Passover right here in the plain text. And so I'm just going to go on to the next one on Pentecost. These I've already done that were on the 12th. And then what I did here with these is I tried to put in another term for Pentecost. So I tried to put in feast and weeks, because the Feast of Weeks is another name for Pentecost. And so I just want to show you what came up with those. And since this first part is redundant, I'm just going to click on the second one here. Okay, this one says feast, weeks, rapture, June, dead, rise, last day. And over here in the pink we have the word weeks, the letters W-E-E-K-S. We have the word feast over here in the red, the letters F-E-A-S-T. In the burgundy you have days, or day, sorry, D-A-Y, and then last is here in the green, the letters L-A-S-T. So last and day are meshed in together. And in the lavender here you have the first part of the word rapture with the letters R-A-P, and the second part is right here in the bluish purple with the letters T-U-R-E. And in the yellow you have the word rise, the letters R-I-S-E. In the green you have the word dead with the letters D-E-A-D. So again, dead and rise are meshed in together. And here in the blue you have the word June with the letters J-U-N-E. And I'm about out of time, so I'm going to have to continue with the rest of these in the next video. Thanks.